Hello, hello, hello. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. In today's lecture, uh, this is part 3 of Introduction to Urban Mass Transportation. Now, here in this part, we'll discuss about the travel behavior, and it is the travel behavior that determines the transportation planning. You cannot plan any transportation without knowing how people are traveling. What I mean is, travel behavior, it's aims at understanding how the traveler values, norms, attitudes, and constraints lead to observed behavior. Travel values and attitudes refer to motivational, cognitive, situational, and disposition factors determining the human behavior. Knowing the traveler behavior, it means how a lot to the modeling and analysis of travel demand based on theories and analytic method from a variety of scientific fields. These behaviors include but not limited to the use of the time and its allocation to travel and activities. For example, uh, school-going people have their own time, and school-going students may have some other activities like in our environment, they go to tuitions or other do some other sports events and like that. And then this travel behavior, we have methods to study variety of time contexts and stages in the lives of people and the organization and use of space at any level of social organization, such as the individual, the household, the community, and other formal or informal groups. Like, going to mosque for Juma prayer is one uh, one demand, travel demand that occurs on a specific day. Similarly, you have a shopping demand, mostly this shopping demand for people uh, in which both men and wife are office going. They do use Saturdays and Sundays for mostly Saturdays for the shopping and then on Sundays for recreational activities. Similarly, any event like birthday parties or some other celebration, mostly they occur during the Friday night or the Saturday night. So these, and then we'll have some political the political meetings. They do occur uh, during different times. So what happening is that all those and the things events like the marriages and this all will actually uh, determine the travel behavior and travel demand at the time other than the conventional time like office hours, the peak hours. In our city, we had actually in weekend we have also got a lot of travel demand, especially to the educational places like seasides or people going for eating and all those things. So this demand should be met for that. So Now, this is the travel demand of the people, but the movement of goods, uh, it's also motivated by human needs, and it has strong interfaces and relationship with the movement of person. For instance, we don't have a movement of goods on Fridays, but it has on other days the movement of goods on the local arterials are very high. Things like the bread supplier, they have the travel demand in the morning, or the milk supply. So these are also the good that is being supplied to the places. So their travel demand is different from the other travel demand of an office going people. Similarly, those who have shops, they have the different travel demand than the behavior, travel behaviors, and you have to plan according to travel behavior of the various population, various segments of the area. Uh, and this is very typical that how the land use relate to the transportation planning. Uh, is the land use typically refers to the changes we make natural environment like homes, subdivision, offices, urban areas. How do we use our land, whether it is for residential, commercial, or industrial development, affect the transportation needs, such as road, more travel, services, their parking demand. Imagine we have, uh, not imagine, actually we have some shopping centers situated right on the main road, and that is creating a lot of parking demand. And if this parking demand is not met, and usually it is not, what is happening is we have a traffic chaos on those arterials, and the people who have nothing to do with shopping is bound to um, pass through this congestion. Another is this location of the educational institute. That also creates a lot of demand, lot of congestion. So we have to, when you are planning the city, uh, we need to allocate places and add ample space for these uh, types of land use. So obviously, when we uh, have planning for shopping areas in our town planning, we have we had to have the place that have easily walking distance. So if they have weak walking distance, the travel demand, vehicular travel demand will be less. So there, this can. But if you have a place, a shopping area at the extreme of your town, that most of the people have to long a walk from one end to another one. So that again will create a traffic chaos, traffic parking demand in a small is in a small town, for instance, like a barrier town. It's not like this, but there can be any other town that is situated in the outskirts of cities, and if they are not ran properly, this will create a lot of travel demand. Uh, the commercial development located next to highways encourage car trips, often restricts opportunities walking, biking, or taking public transportation, and can lead to longer trips to shopping areas. That's another problem. People have different travel habits. For example, some of the people they want to go for fishing. Some of the people they want to eat fishes in the outskirts of a city like us, like Karachi. So that also creates a travel demand. And the travel demand during the weekends to all those food districts are different. So let's try to understand this transportation land use cycle. Now, when we improve an arterial, means either by rehabilitation, resurfacing, overlaying, make it, attractive, it will it will create increased accessibility to the people. People will move from their routine work to this uh, arterial, and that will create the land values around that arterial. And sometimes, and most of the time, it will create a land use change, maybe a petrol pump, the service areas, maybe the shopping centers, maybe the car mechanics, and this also land use change will increase the traffic. And when there when this traffic increase, the increase in traffic conflict increase, and consequently there is a deterioration in level of service. Well, with increased traffic, there may be a congestion or some of surges. So again, for that we have to increase the lane width or have to add an extra lane. So why the land use transportation cycle, roads are often built to allow greater access to new development. The road improvements make other land along the road more accessible. With more housing and services along the road, traffic volumes increase, resulting in more congestion. Eventually, the reduced efficiency of road necessitates more improvement, which can lead to additional development along the road. When the land use transportation cycle occurs over and over in a higher growth region, the pressure on commuters' road capacity and distance can be intense. Now, there is a terminology known as comprehensive mobility planning, CMP. It depends on several elements: service and modes of urban transportation, roads and related infrastructure, and other matters such as planning, coordination, licensing. So we have to have a comprehensive plan to cater the mobility needs of the people living in the city or near the city. Without knowing, without understanding each of the category, your comprehensive mobility plan will not be comprehensive anymore. We have to cater all those three parameters, three important things while having a comprehensive mobility plan. CMP for the cities provide prepared to prioritize project for implementation. It is a vision statement in which urban transportation consistent the city grow. CMP also cover elements of urban transportation and emphasis should be on integrated planning. In order to ensure its implementation and compliance with the master plan, all cities should notify the CMP under the Town and Country Planning Act for the respective states. And CMPs are generally formed of 5-yearly basis. We continue. It includes the model mix priorities, means the type of vehicles, so the type of modes. Not model, that means the type of modes. Walk and non-motorized transport, public transport like rail, road, waterways. Nowadays, we have a public transportation like Chinchi, rickshaws, and we have this Ubers and these drive-in and all those rented taxis, online taxis that we are having right now. And then there is a personal motorized transport. The transit-oriented development move people to live close to the transit service and use it. Obviously, this will be a greater thing, but again, this this really confuse some environmental issues to the people living close. At one time, it will save the vehicle movement. People will walk to the transit service. On the other hand, if the transit service uh, is very nearer to the populations, it will create privacy problem. It will create the environmental things like uh, noise and environmental air pollution problem. So when we talk about a rich mix of uses within walking distance, pedestrian facilities, the multimodal connectivity focus on moving people, making public transportation a stop or gateway to the community. But again, this should be exercised with care because we don't want to compromise the standard of the living. The environmental effect should always be considered. Now, why? What is the transport demand management? It can be said in four questions. Why, when, where, and how. Why means purpose of travel. Why we want to travel is we want to have a transport demand because of the workplaces, the school, shopping, recreation. Uh, we need to understand what is the traffic demand, transport demand in within peak and off peak hours, the daytime and the evening time, the weekdays and even weekends. And where this demand come from, it comes from the community, from the neighborhood, the outskirts of the city, within the city and outskirts of the cities like satellite things. And what transport model we provide to meet those demand, uh, walking or cycling, transport, car, and nowadays a paratransit like taxis, online taxis. People are also talking about uh, there are some recreational taxis like air taxis in one of the Gulf countries right now. Now, to control the growth in transport demand, there is a limit to the augmentation of urban transport infrastructure. Transport demand management aims to maximize the efficiency of urban transport by discouraging necessity of private vehicle use and promoting more effective, healthy, environment-friendly modes. Government would financially support to implement TDM measures by the cities. This, this terrible demand management is the key to urban mass transportation. Universal accessibility is the Constitution ensures equality, freedom, justice, and dignity that mandates an inclusive society for all, including people with reduced mobility. It includes people with different abilities, senior citizens, women and children, families with small children, people carrying heavy luggages. Universal accessibility is an approach that covers everyone so that transport service can be used fairly, provide high degree of freedom, simple, safe, easy to understand, not require unnecessary bodily strength, and maintain appropriate space size that is very easy. So that's another aspect within urban mass transportation is the transport planning module. We have to develop a transport policy, issues to be considered, set up vision, goals, and strategies, understand notion of comprehensive mobility planning, criteria for planning, setting service level benchmark, and TDM as a strategy for improved mobility in cities. The traditional way of transportation planning is the four-stage model: generation, distribution, modal split, and assignment. All will be explained in part of this course and will be explained in detail. That's why I'm restraining this, uh, not explaining it uh, right now. For example, trip generation means how trips are generated, what make people to travel. And then the distribution, where this trip, how trip will be distributed and how in future this travel will increase. What mode use urban mass transportation system? You use train, you use bus, or you use your personal vehicle, or use walk. This is the modal split. And what route you take is the trip assignment. So this is all uh, for the introduction of urban mass transportation. Thank you very much.